Hi everyone, it's LadyJenevia. Now before I get into all of the content that I want to address in this video, I need to send a message to my mom because she watches everything that I post on YouTube. I'm about to talk about a TV show called Hemlock Grove, and whatever you do not watch it. You will not like it. I know how you are. You don't like when people get into shenanigans, and the show is all shenanigans, so don't watch it. Okay, so now we can talk about this. This is something that I feel very strongly about, and I've talked about it many times with one of my mates who also was into this show, and then we turned on it when it ended. Hemlock Grove is a Netflix series starring Bill Skarsgård and other people. It started off well enough that I enjoyed the better aspects of it. I'm not saying it was a perfect show. It had 3 seasons, and season 3 was a travesty. I just thought that I would list a few things that I didn't like about it, because normally I don't do videos like this, but I'm trying to branch out and not only talk about one thing all the time on my channel. So I wanted to talk about this because this was something that I felt strongly about. There will be spoilers, so if you for some reason are going to be upset by me spoiling a show that has finished for years now, then click away and try to reevaluate how you conduct yourself on the internet. Okay, here we go. In season 3, there is a plotline in which Godfrey gets a new love interest, and then, surprise, surprise, she's actually his sister. Now, we already had the plot twist of, oops, you got into shenanigans with a relative, a cousin slash sister slash I don't know how to deal with this much nonsense at one time. You did it once, but to do it twice, just why? Why? It was so extra, it was so unnecessary, it did nothing for the plot. And the next point that I have to say about Hemlock Grove Season 3 is that it's more or less a how-to guide on character assassination. Not just in the literal sense of, oh, well, let's kill many characters. No. I'm talking about growth and development of characters that then gets completely thrown out the window and undermined, and it makes the viewers, the people who enjoyed the show, that supported the show, feel like, what was the point of me investing myself in this story and in these characters? So Roman kills Destiny. You could have left it at the point of, it was an accident, he was upset, she hit him, he hit her back, and then she was mortally wounded. You could have left it at that, and instead you had him go over and completely kill her. And I know that some of you are gonna go, no, but he got upset afterwards. Yeah, but that action completely undermines all this development, all this growth that you're seemingly trying to have him do. And listen, I'm not saying that everything has to end with a happy ending. That's not what I'm saying at all. I will give an example. There is a French film that I enjoy, but also I have to pick and choose when I watch it because it's kind of a lot, just emotionally, psychologically. It's it's called Jeu d'enfant. How do I explain Jeu d'enfant? It's like a how-to guide on self-destruction, and it's also very abstract in its own way. And is it mean if I say it's very French? I'll put it in this context. Hollywood is very much of the mentality of trying to force happy endings all the time, and it doesn't like to have things end badly, typically. Maybe it's a little bit more open to it now, but there's not as many tragic endings. I mean, something always has to end happy and hopeful and whatever. And then I think a lot of European content is less afraid to have things get twisted in a more probing manner as far as what people are capable of self-destruction. I'm getting off topic here. The point is that I'm not saying that everyone had to have a happy ending. I'm saying that their manner in executing the story was a complete flaming dumpster fire. It was a complete train wreck, and I didn't like it. Basically, if you wanted to summarize this video, it's called I Don't Like Hemlock Grove Season 3. You introduce Annie, and Annie is one of the most awful characters I've ever had the misfortune of watching. I'm being facetious again, please don't take this video that seriously, it's just all meant in good fun. If I had that much malice towards it, then I would just disregard it and not want to make a video, because then it's giving something attention that I don't want to give attention to. There was so much that I enjoyed in Hemlock Grove, and then it just went off the rails, and that's why it hurts so much. So she's the most insufferably sanctimonious character. I mean, she should know better than anyone, right? That people make mistakes, and you try to overcome. She's known Roman for all of what, 5 seconds? Slammed him a few times, and now all of a sudden she's the expert on his character. Who the hell? I'm trying to maintain my ability to express what it is that I want to say, but I'm just getting so annoyed that I feel like I'm spiraling. I feel like I'm devolving, okay? Who on earth is she to have the right to decide whether or not he should be allowed to stay alive? Who is she to decide that no, he doesn't get to live a life with his daughter? We, as an audience, we have the larger context. We've seen this character's journey from season 1 all the way through season 3. For all Roman's flaws, and yes, there were many misdeeds, and we don't need to get into that right now. This video is not about that. It's not a character evaluation of Roman Godfrey. My takeaway from the story was that despite everything wrong that Roman had done, his daughter was more or less the best thing about him. And what I mean by that is this was gonna be what would inspire him to be the best that he could be as far as the content of his character. And not to say that he wouldn't make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes sometimes, and you just try to do the best you can to move on and to do better and moving forward. Maybe it's a result of all the developmental psychology that I've studied throughout my academic life. It makes sense that Roman would have a fair few issues when you get all this backstory, which we do as an audience, and we see more of it play out with his upbringing. There's trauma. He's not being given a very healthy example or role model to follow in the footsteps of. But at the same time, we saw that as he would form relationships with others that had a good influence on him, like the relationship with Peter, and even with Letha before that went down the path that it went, he had the capacity for goodness in him. And even the way he treated Shelley, so we always knew that he had it in him. He just needed to have the right people around him. The whole issue with Hemlock Grove and it ending the way that it did, it made me feel as a viewer like the planning was not there for what they were trying to do with this story. If it was that easy for it all to just fall apart, then was any of it real to begin with? Were any of the positive aspects of the show and the relationships and the development, was any of that real? As far as the story goes, my main takeaway when all was said and done was, what was the point of me being invested in this story if that's how they were going to end it? It's not about the fact that certain people died or certain people didn't get to live their best life or anything like that. That's not the issue that I had with it, because even if you had chosen to kill certain characters, but you did it in a way that gave their story meaning and made it all worthwhile, theoretically, I could have been okay with that. But that's not how they did it. To reiterate what I already said, it was just character assassination. But I don't regret watching the show. There were some great performances on that show, despite the sometimes convoluted writing. It got increasingly more convoluted as the series went on. Hopefully some of you that watch this like what I have to say, and you don't take it too personally if you're just a ride or die fan of that show. I would still consider myself a fan of the show. I just really don't like the way that it ended, which is why I decided to make a video about it, because I felt like talking about it. I think probably it's more so that I felt like making this video, and I know that my mate will watch it and she'll go, yeah, we've talked about this, we know that this is how we feel. But that's going to be it for this video. If you like what you've just seen, feel free to like, comment your thoughts on Hemlock Grove Season 3. It just went so wrong. I think part of why I decided to make this video is that a lot of stuff was getting stirred up, and I was just remembering how upset I was when all of this transpired and when it was finally released on Netflix, and then I watched it and I was so upset that this was how it happened. Because the reason why I was thinking about this was because I still have to do my storytime video about Bill Skarsgård, because I have not shared that photo, I have not shared that story yet, and I know that some people would like to hear about it, so I'm going to do that. But in preparing for that, all of this came flooding back. I just thought, let me just try it out, make a video about it, and that's what I've done. Feel free to follow me on all of my social medias. Everything is written in the description box. But that'll be it for now. So until next time, this is Lady Genevieve, signing off.